I don't know where my sudden obsession, like, I don't know how the sudden obsession with Frankenstein came from. Uh, I've never been a fan of Frankenstein. I'm not saying that I never liked Frankenstein. I never liked the creature. I never liked the book. I never liked the movie. I grew up with more of the oldie movies of him, like being in the old black and white monster films. And then as I got older, I read the book and I've seen other movies and things like that. Um, so Walmart, because Halloween is coming, Walmart is selling Peeps. So you know how they would sell the Easter Bunny plushes of the Peeps during Easter? Well, they're doing it again, but for Halloween. So these Peeps bunnies are dressed up as Halloween characters. But they also have the Duck Peeps. And they're like dressed up in Halloween characters. You have one that's Frankenstein, you have one that's the bat, you have another one that I think is a devil, and I have another one that I think was also a mummy. And for some odd reason, I really want the Frankenstein peep. I don't know why. And then, on top of which, like I've spoke about a dream, and the shadow box that I finally bought, I told you I bought a shadow box. I have a diorama of that's Frankenstein themed. So in one area it says, "Beware, for I am fearless and therefore powerful," and it goes, "A monster, and then it's alive, it's alive." You know, I think you can, yeah, the writing here, and then you have what looks like to be the lab. You know, this X-ray. I actually asked the lady about this X-ray, and she said that's her X-ray, her teeth, an X-ray of her teeth when she was 16. I told her you're a brave woman to put that out there like that. She thought it would add more to the nostalgic and the creepiness of the theme. And then also, like I said, I had the idea to do a Frankenstein cake. I just have to get the that specialized Betty Crocker Fill-A-Bake, which I found on Amazon. And then there's this new movie coming out. Well, actually, like I said, so this year there's a movie of Frankenstein that is starring Oscar Isaac and Mia Goth, and it's a Guillermo del Toro film of Frankenstein. It's going to be released on Netflix later this year. Then next year is going to be, it is called The Bride, and it's based off Frankenstein. And it's starring, you know, Christian Bale, Jake Gyllenhaal, and believe it or not, Jake Gyllenhaal's sister, Maggie Gyllenhaal, is directing it. And it's kind of funny because both Maggie and her brother, Jake Gyllenhaal, they both starred in a film together when they were first starting out called Donnie Darko. And this was, I believe, this was released, I think, late 1999, 2000. It was a cult classic. I believe it was before Jake Gyllenhaal starred in Bubble Boy, which was in 2000. And let me see Donnie Darko. We're going to look it up. Donnie Darko. 2001. Okay. I was right. Okay. So it was in the 2000s. And I think Bubble Boy was also 2001. Oh, okay. So the same year. So he went from horror to comedy. It was still a good movie. Both of them were good movies though. Yeah, so Jake Gyllenhaal and Maggie Gyllenhaal worked that together in that film, playing brother and sister in that film. It also looks like her husband, Peter Gallagher, is it? Hang on. Maggie Gyllenhaal. Yeah, she's directing that movie. And she is married to Peter Sarsgaard. So yeah, she's married to him, which is kind of cool. When he's I guess a policeman. He's playing the policeman, and he's in the movie with his brother-in-law, Jake Gyllenhaal, which is kind of funny because they're all like all through it. So that's kind of cool. Oh, I didn't know that Jake and Peter were both best friends. Well, that's cool. So anyway, they're all starring in this movie, and also in this movie there's Christian Bale, who's starring as the monster, as Frankenstein, which is kind of funny because he and Maggie have both worked together in The Dark Knight. She was doing Rachel Dawes, which originally was played by Katie Holmes in Batman Begins. But Maggie Gyllenhaal was taking place. He was playing Rachel Dawes, and it's funny because her brother Jake did a movie. With Anne Hathaway. I believe he did two movies with her, and And Anne Hathaway did a movie with Christian Bale in The Dark Knight Rises. She played Catwoman. And Jake Gyllenhaal, it was a movie called Prisoners, and he starred alongside Hugh Jackman. And Hugh Jackman starred alongside Christian Bale in The Prestige, a Christopher Nolan film, which Christopher Nolan is well known for his Batman trilogy starring Christian Bale. Which started back in 2005 and I believe had ended in 2009, 2010. That was like the last movie film. Because in the 2010s, Ben Affleck came to play. And Ben Affleck, this isn't the first time that Ben had played a superhero. He played a superhero Daredevil, which came out in 2002. And he starred alongside his then wife, Jennifer Garner, who's well known for her role in Alias. Yeah, I'm sorry. We're going off topic here. I'm sorry, guys. We're going way off topic. Well, that's what happens when you watch a lot of movies because you're passing the time. You're trying to amuse yourself because you don't have friends and you are alone a lot. It does get lonely. But you learn a lot. Look at that. I just gave you a whole spiel of this. And Anne Hathaway and Hugh Jackman starred together in Les Miserables. Which, like I said, Hugh Jackman had starred alongside with. Yeah. So, yeah, we're getting off track here. But anyway, Christian Bale is starring in this movie called The Bride. And alongside Jake Gyllenhaal and Peter Skarsgård and things like that. From the trailer, it's called The Bride. It's coming next year. It looks like in the trailer, the bride, something had happened to the bride. And the monster, Frankenstein, played by Christian Bale, may have brought her back. And it was a success. She's going, what is this? She even says, what's my name? I don't remember my name. So it's Frankenstein meets Bonnie and Clyde. Because that's what I had the idea in the film. Like the Bonnie and Clyde, there's like some gun violence, there's stuff like that. Jake Gyllenhaal is in the film. I can only go by... Now, I don't know what it's going to be like. I'm interested. I want to see the movie. My prediction would be Jake Gyllenhaal has something to do with the bride. And the detective played by Peter Skarsgård, who is in real life the brother-in-law of Jake Gyllenhaal, is going after these monsters who are basically 86 in color pills and have 86 in people. There's also a woman named Penelope. There's also Penelope Cruz who is starring in this film. It looks like she may have known the bride before the bride became the bride. So I'm only going by what the trailer is. We don't know what it is, but from the trailer itself, it looks like, now don't quote me, but it looks like Jake Gyllenhaal may have done something to the bride, because obviously it shows that the bride was in fact exterminated. She was thrown down the stairs, pushed down the stairs, shoved, whatever. Her body was mangled. Then Frankenstein brought her back to life. Now she is his bride. Because here comes the mother. So I think Jake Gyllenhaal's character in this film has something to do with the bride's death. Penelope Cruz's character knows the bride from a previous life. And now everything's going to come to head. Christian Bale's character, the bride's character, says, "I did say until death do us part." So the only way that she can be free is if one of them or both of them get exterminated. I say exterminated because it's a bad word, but it's exterminated. Like I said, it takes a Bonnie and Clyde kind of spin to this gothic tale. So we're gonna have to find out. I can't wait. I would like to see this movie. It's rather interesting. Which again, I don't know where my sudden obsession with Frankenstein came from. I don't know why. I think it was this shadow box. This is the villain. This is the villain. This was the one. Because before I saw it, I was fine. I was a Wolfman girl. I wasn't a Frankenstein girl. This is it. This is the culprit. This is what started. Yeah, well, that's the only thing I can think of. You guys weren't there. I was there. Oh. Yeah, I always did like the Wolfman. Because I'm a huge fan of werewolves and things like that. I've always liked... That's always drawn me in, you know. I have a ton of books on werewolves. Like, I have a whole shelf dedicated to mythology, like legendary creatures and mythology, from Celtic mythology, Japanese mythology, Greek and Norse, and I have a whole thing in there. Oh my gosh, I have Beowulf, I have the superstitions of things like that. I got books on vampires and urban legends, books on fairies. Yeah, Barnes and Nobles. What else? Yeah, I have a ton of books on vampires and werewolves too, because technically they're the same. Vampires get their powers from werewolves. That's why they're mortal enemies. But vampirism is more blasphemic than lycanthropy, because supposedly, well, one of the saints, Saint Christopher, was the man who is said to be a werewolf. But yet, this supposed werewolf saint, now I say supposed, you know, like don't quote me, I'm not saying it's real. It's just kind of funny how this saint is connected with lycanthropy, which is, you know, the ability to shapeshift into a werewolf and things like that. But apparently this saint was the one who helped the little savior to cross the stream. And when he put him up on his shoulders, he says, "Man, wow, you are heavy." And the little one says, "Because I carry the weight of the world on my shoulders. That is why I am heavy. I am carrying a heavy burden. I am carrying a heavy mission," you know, things like that. That's what they say. I don't know. But what can you do? But yeah, I've always liked werewolves. I've always liked vampires. I like mostly werewolves and stuff like that. What was I going to say? Now I remember. So, y'all know that I watched Nosferatu and I didn't really like it. Thought it was a waste of time. I'll admit, I never saw the original. I probably would have liked the original better than the newer one. Like I said, I have never in my life ever wanted to walk out of a film before that. But the same director, Roger Eagles, I believe that's the director's name, who was well known for his director's debut of Itch, The Lighthouse, Nosferatu, and what else was that? There was another movie he did, and I know that one because I didn't care about that movie either. Was it Lighthouse? Okay. Yeah, well, The Lighthouse I enjoyed. Vitch I didn't really care about. Nosferatu is just so out of my... I hated it. But now he's saying... now he's going to work on a new project. And this is going to involve werewolves. And so far, 2 actors from his Nosferatu picture. Aaron Taylor Johnson. He played Nicholas Holt's character's best friend. And Rose Lily Depp. Yeah, Rose? Yeah. Rose Lily Depp, who played Nicholas Holt's wife, the one that Nosferatu, where Bill Skarsgård Nosferatu was going after. These 2 actors, Aaron Johnson and Rose Lily Depp, or Lily Rose Depp. I just know there's a Lily and a Rose, and her last name's Depp, and she's the daughter of Johnny Depp. They're gonna be together doing this film. Yes, I'm going to watch it. I really hope the werewolf effects are good, because I saw the new take on Wolfman. That was not a wolf at all. That was an angry troll, old man-like thing. That was Rumpelstiltskin. That was not a werewolf. I heard a lot of people were pissed off about that, going, that's not a werewolf at all. It's not. You know, Benicio del Toro, when he starred in Wolfman, the remake of Wolfman in 2009, alongside Hugo Weaving and Emily Blunt, that's a werewolf. That was a Wolfman. If they would have done it like that, you got me. You got points with me now. I didn't even watch the Wolfman. I only knew about it because I saw pictures of it. Because something didn't sit right when I saw the trailer for it. Yeah. But yeah, like I said, I've always liked the Wolfman. Like I said, I never hated Frankenstein. I've watched The Invisible Man, the Gill Man, the Creature from the Black Lagoon, The Mummy, and stuff like that. You know, I didn't really care too much for Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. You know, didn't really care too much. It's kind of funny because I remember when the remake in 2017 starring Tom Cruise, The Mummy, was going to come out. That was going to kick off the Dark Universe. And the Dark Universe was going to have Johnny Depp as the Invisible Man. Juan Mendes, I believe that's his last name. He was going to be Frankenstein, I believe. It was either he was going to be Frankenstein or Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. It was one of them two. They basically had the cast. They had the cast who was going to star in the films. And that if the movie did well, they were going to get the green light. The movie didn't do well domestically. It did well internationally, but not domestically, so they thought we're Xing it out. Which is kind of funny because apparently originally 2014's Dracula Untold, directed by Gary Shore, starred Luke Evans, who's well known for Roberta Monroe's, especially Bard the Bowman from the Hobbit trilogy, was the main character, was the title character, Dracula. But this one was more centered around the history, the beginning of Vlad Tepes, the man behind the legend. That was supposed to kick off the Dark Universe. But then Universal Studios says, no, it's not. We're not doing it. We're changing our mind. We're gonna have the Mummy. We're gonna have Tom Cruise. It's gonna work. Yeah, obviously. um, yeah, that's about it. Yeah, my sudden obsession with Frankenstein. That's yeah, that's something. Oh yeah, but all in all, yeah, that's about it. Me just rambling about Frankenstein and werewolves and vampires and supernatural creatures and superstitions and things that that and stories that the good book spoke about, and you know how in biblical times and things like that were connected and things like that. And then actors who've acted with people who know were close friends or wives and yeah, it's been a long week. It's finally Friday, so I'm glad. Yeah, the weekend's finally here. I need sleep. That's what I need. I need sleep. All right, guys, I'm gonna let you go before I start rambling about other stuff that don't need to be rambling about. You guys be safe out there and have a good weekend, guys. Bye. Ah, good night, guys. Bye.